On November 1st, 2022, Kayla Schock had a hair appointment and had asked her mom, Tracey Nix, to babysit her 7-month-old granddaughter, Uriel. Temperatures in Florida had reached 90 degrees on this day, and her mom's Lexus SUV was parked in the yard with the windows rolled up. Tracey had left Uriel in the car for hours. When she remembered baby Uriel, it was too late. Tracey told the detective that after she drove home from having lunch with friends, she went inside, talked to the dog, and practiced the piano, and she just forgot about her granddaughter in the back seat of her Lexus SUV. It wasn't until one of her grandsons arrived around 3.5 hours later that all of a sudden it came across her head that Uriel had been in the SUV all afternoon. Her husband found her unresponsive in the back seat and attempted CPR, but she could not be revived. When paramedics arrived, Uriel was hot to the touch. The onesie she was in was damp from sweating, and there were signs of rigor mortis. What makes this story even more heartbreaking? Uriel's death was 11 months after her 16-month-old brother Ezra drowned in a pond while in the care of Tracey, which was 3 days before Christmas 2021. Tracey had reportedly dozed off on the couch. When she woke up and could not find Ezra, she called her husband for help. She later discovered him lying unresponsive in a couple of feet of standing water outside their home. 6-month-old Israel died after he opened doors, went under a fence, and wandered into a pond outside. Tracey's version of what happened on that day was she and Ezra were napping. When she woke up, she couldn't find him and began searching. As she was driving, looking for him, she saw something in the pond. After noticing it was her grandson, she began doing CPR. Tracey said she had no idea he could open the door, that he had just started walking only a few weeks before. After getting a call about her son, Kayla sped to her mother's home and got into a head-on collision while 6 months pregnant with Uriel. When she learned that her son's death was ruled accidental, she was relieved. I was told, unless I believed that my mom held my son's head under the water and intentionally killed him, that there is nothing else that they could do about my son's death, she stated. A judge ruled Israel's death could not be mentioned during the trial for Uriel's death. Says she felt comfortable leaving her daughter in her mother's care during her hair appointment because she knew the people she was going to lunch with and trusted them. When police arrived on the scene, Tracey stated, "I don't want to face anybody. I can't face my daughter. I cannot do that." Tracey was charged with aggravated manslaughter, and trial for Uriel's death began on January 14 of 2025. Prosecutors argue Tracey Nix was negligent when she left her 7-month-old granddaughter Uriel in a hot car, leading to her death. The defense, however, said it was a tragic accident, not culpable negligence. Nunn Nix, Tracey's husband and Uriel's grandfather, was the sole witness to testify for the defense. Nix's husband said that Tracey mourned in silence and she rarely left the house after Uriel's death. She refused to speak about the tragedy for days after, and he requested that Tracey be sent to a mental health facility for 30 days to help her come to terms with what happened. April 2023, the judge granted a motion to allow Tracey to go to a mental health facility in St. Cloud, Florida. The prosecution called several witnesses to testify, including Tracey's daughters, her friends, paramedics, law enforcement, and a medical examiner. According to a psychiatrist who spoke at the trial, Tracey had taken medications that reportedly could cause her side effects. These include issues with mental clarity, sedation, focus, and concentration. The medical examiner testified that Uriel did not die from sudden death, explaining that quick but not instant could mean it took approximately an hour. Uriel died from hypothermia as a result of being left in a hot car for several hours. Friends who met Tracey for lunch that day also testified, saying they'd known her for decades and she was a loving grandmother. Tracey declined to testify in her own defense. After 2.5 hours, the jury delivers its split verdict of not guilty of aggravated manslaughter, but guilty of a lesser charge of leaving a child in a motor vehicle in excess of 15 minutes. Uriel's father, Drew, said his mother-in-law had taken the loves of his life from him, and that he could not get into his own vehicle without thinking about Uriel and how she suffered that day. Uriel's mother, Kayla, wept openly in court. She spoke about the emotional turmoil she and her family had suffered. First the losses, then seeking justice for Uriel, while realizing it was her own mother facing prison time. Prior to sentencing, Tracey told her daughter and son-in-law that she wasn't permitted to speak with them, but took the opportunity to apologize. Judge Raffu was not swayed. Her narrative is that she forgot because of taking mind-altering medications. He didn't feel that she was showing remorse, but sorrow. Sympathy is not the same as remorse, he stated. Judge Raffu sentenced Tracey Nix to the maximum allowable under the law, 5 years in prison,